Hello, my friend. You know, the longer we live, the more life teaches us. With every year, we collect lessons, wisdom, and perspective. But here's the truth. Even with all that knowledge, sometimes we still hold on to habits that do us more harm than good. I'll be honest, I've made some of these mistakes myself. Not once, but more times than I'd like to admit. And that's why I want to share them with you today. Not to make you feel guilty or worried, but to shine a gentle light on the everyday choices that can quietly chip away at our health, our happiness, and our independence if we're not careful. Because here's the thing, it's not always the big decisions that shape our lives, it's the little habits, the ones we repeat day after day, without even thinking about them. They're small, almost invisible, until one day we notice they've added up and made life harder than it has to be. So, in this conversation, I want to walk you through 6 of the most common mistakes seniors make. Chances are you'll recognize a few of them. I certainly did. And maybe, just maybe, you'll feel inspired to make a small change, one that could make your days lighter, healthier, and more joyful. And as we go along, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you struggled with any of these yourself? Have you overcome one and found a better way? Share your story, because your wisdom just might encourage another woman listening today. So, let's begin. Together, let's uncover these quiet little traps, and more importantly, discover how to set ourselves free from them. Let's start with a big one, moving our bodies. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I've worked hard all my life. Haven't I earned the right to slow down and rest? And you're absolutely right. We have earned our rest. But here's the little trap I fell into. And maybe you have too. Resting too much. See, when the body doesn't move, it starts to stiffen. Muscles weaken, joints ache, and our balance gets shaky. And before we know it, everyday things, like getting out of a chair, climbing the stairs, or carrying groceries, feel harder than they should. I like to think of it this way. Our muscles are like a car engine. If you let it sit unused for too long, things start to rust and slow down. But if you turn it on every day, even just for a short drive, it stays in good working order. And here's the good news. It doesn't take a fancy gym membership or hours of training. Movement can be gentle, joyful, even playful. A short morning stretch to loosen the joints, a walk around the block to breathe in fresh air, a little dance in the kitchen while the kettle boils. Even gardening or tidying up the house counts as exercise. It all adds up. What matters most is consistency. Small steps done every day are far more powerful than big efforts done once in a while. I'll tell you this from my own heart. Every time I keep myself moving, I feel more like me. My mood lifts, my energy rises, and my confidence grows. Because movement isn't just about exercise, it's about freedom. The freedom to live on your own terms, to stay independent, to enjoy life without feeling held back by your body. So if you've been skipping exercise, I invite you to start small. Stretch for 5 minutes today. Tomorrow, walk to the end of the street. The day after, add a little more. You'll be amazed at how quickly your body thanks you for the gift of movement. Oh, this one is close to my heart, because I used to be guilty of it. For years, I surrounded myself with things. Closets full of clothes I no longer wore, drawers stuffed with someday items, shelves lined with trinkets I didn't even notice anymore. At first, I told myself it was comforting. Each item held a memory, a story, a little piece of my past. But over time, I realized the truth. What I thought was a comfort was actually a weight. Every pile, every stuffed drawer, every corner filled with things I didn't use. It was like a whisper reminding me I was stuck in the past instead of living in the present. And clutter doesn't just take up space in our homes, it takes up space in our minds. It makes it harder to focus, harder to find peace, and sometimes even harder to move safely through our own rooms. Have you ever tripped over something you didn't even need? I have, and it was a wake-up call. So I started small. One drawer, one shelf. I held each item and asked myself, does this still bring me joy? Do I use it? Does it serve my life today? If the answer was no, I thanked it for its time with me and let it go. Sometimes I donated things, knowing they could bless someone else. Other times, I simply released them, understanding that the memory was not in the object, it was in me. And do you know what happened? My home began to breathe again. My heart began to breathe again. I felt lighter, freer, more at ease. Now I keep only the items that truly matter, the keepsakes that warm my heart, the clothes that make me feel good, the tools I actually use. Everything else? I've released it. Because life after 65 isn't about holding on tighter. It's about creating space. Space for peace, for calm, for moments that truly matter. So if you find yourself surrounded by too much stuff, I promise you this. Letting go is not losing. It's gaining back your freedom. This one touches my heart deeply because I know how easy it can happen. We tell ourselves we're just too tired to pick up the phone, or we skip that coffee date because it feels like too much effort. Some days, staying home in our comfortable chair seems easier than putting ourselves out there. But here's the quiet danger. Isolation doesn't feel harmful at first, but it slowly steals our joy. Loneliness can sneak up on us, and it doesn't just make us sad, it affects our memory, our motivation, even our physical health. Studies show that staying connected can keep our minds sharper, our bodies stronger, and our spirits lighter. Think about it. Relationships are like plants. If we don't water them, they wither. But a little care, a phone call, a visit, a shared laugh, can bring them back to life. I used to have days where I'd think, oh, I don't want to bother anyone. They're probably too busy. But you know what I discovered? When I reached out, people were often relieved I did. They needed the connection just as much as I did. It doesn't have to be grand or complicated. A quick hello to a neighbor, a weekly coffee with a friend, even joining a group at the library, a church gathering, or a community class. And yes, technology can be our ally here. Video calls, online groups, even social media, used wisely, can help bridge the distance and bring loved ones right into our living rooms. And let's not forget this. You have so much to give. Your stories, your wisdom, your laughter. Someone out there needs what only you can share. So if you've been pulling away, gently ask yourself, what's one small step I could take today to feel more connected? Maybe it's a text. Maybe it's a smile to the cashier at the store. Maybe it's saying yes to an invitation. Because the truth is, connection doesn't just make life sweeter, it makes life longer. And you, my friend, deserve both. Mistake 4. Avoiding technology. Ah, technology. I know just saying that word can make some of us want to throw up our hands and say, oh, that's not for me. I used to feel the same way. All those buttons, screens, and updates. It felt like learning a foreign language. But here's the truth. Avoiding technology doesn't protect us. It disconnects us. I can't tell you how many times I heard friends say, I'm too old for that stuff. And I believed it myself for a while. But then, one day, my granddaughter sat down next to me, placed a tablet in my hands and said, Grandma, let me show you something. Within minutes, I was on a video call with my sister hundreds of miles away. I saw her smile, heard her laugh, and felt like she was sitting right there with me. My heart nearly burst. That moment changed everything. Technology isn't about gadgets, it's about connection, convenience, and even independence. Imagine being able to see your grandchildren's faces, even if they live far away. Look up a recipe or gardening tip in seconds. Join an online class and learn something new without leaving your home. Use simple apps that remind you to take your medication or track your steps. Enjoy books, music, and movies, all right at your fingertips. And here's the secret: nobody is born knowing this stuff. We all start as beginners. The trick is to approach it with curiosity instead of fear. I started small. I asked my daughter to show me how to send a text, then how to check the weather, then how to search for a video. Step by step, I built confidence. Sure, I made mistakes, pressed the wrong buttons, got frustrated, but each little victory reminded me that I could learn. Technology doesn't replace the old ways, it just adds new possibilities. And it's not about mastering everything, it's about learning enough to make your life easier and more joyful. So if you've been avoiding it, let me gently say, give yourself the gift of trying. Ask for help, write things down, take it slowly, because once you take that first step, you may just discover that technology isn't a burden, it's a bridge. A bridge that can keep you connected, entertained, and empowered in ways you never thought possible. I know. Going to the doctor isn't exactly anyone's favorite activity. The waiting rooms, the tests, the poking and prodding, it can feel like a chore. Sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, I feel fine, I don't need to go this year, or it's probably nothing, I'll just ignore it. But here's the hard truth: skipping those appointments is one of the riskiest mistakes we can make. You see, regular checkups are like a safety net. They catch little problems before they become big ones. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, bone density loss. These don't always come with symptoms. They're silent passengers, quietly riding along until one day they make themselves known, often in ways that are much harder to treat. I used to put off appointments myself. I'd think, why bother? I'll be fine. But then a close friend of mine went in for a routine checkup, and they caught something serious early. Because she went, they treated it right away. And today, she's thriving. That was the wake-up call I needed. Going to the doctor isn't about being sick. It's about staying well. It's a way of showing ourselves the same care and attention we've given to everyone else for decades. And here's a tip that's helped me. I prepare before I go. I write down any questions, symptoms, or even little concerns, so I don't forget in the moment. And I remind myself that my doctor isn't there to lecture me. They're my teammate, my partner in keeping this body of mine as strong and steady as possible. I know it can feel intimidating, but I promise you this: taking charge of your health doesn't make you weaker. It makes you stronger. It puts you back in the driver's seat. So please, don't skip those appointments. Don't wait until something feels wrong. Think of it as an act of love for yourself, for your body, and for the people who love you. Because the truth is, staying proactive with our health is one of the kindest gifts we can give to our future selves. Now this one, it's tender. Because for many of us, asking for help can feel like admitting weakness. We've spent our whole lives being the helpers, the mothers, the caretakers, the problem solvers. So when the day comes that we need a hand, our pride whispers, "Don't ask. You should manage on your own." I know that voice well. I used to push through even when I was struggling, telling myself, I don't want to bother anyone. But here's what I've learned. Refusing to ask for help doesn't make us strong. It makes life harder than it needs to be. Think about it. Needing help with a heavy bag of groceries, a ride to an appointment, or even something small like opening a jar. That's not failure. That's life. and life was never meant to be carried alone. When I finally allowed myself to ask for help, something surprising happened. It brought me closer to the people around me. My family, my friends, even neighbors, they wanted to help. It gave them joy to feel useful, to show love in a practical way. By asking, I wasn't a burden. I was giving them an opportunity to care. And it's not just about family. Many communities have services designed especially for seniors: transportation, meal programs, even friendly visitors. These resources are not charity, they're support systems we deserve to lean on. Here's the truth: allowing others to help is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing when to conserve your energy, when to accept love, and when to let someone else shine by being there for you. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches us something beautiful. We are still part of a circle. We've given so much, and now it's okay, more than okay, to receive. So the next time you catch yourself struggling in silence, pause and ask, do I really have to do this alone? Chances are, the answer is no. And when you let someone step in, you just might find that life feels lighter, brighter, and more connected than before. So there you have it, my friend. 6 quiet mistakes many of us make without even realizing how much they're holding us back. Skipping exercise, holding on to clutter, isolating ourselves, avoiding technology, putting off doctor visits, and refusing to ask for help. On their own, they may not seem like much, but together, they can slowly chip away at the life we deserve to live. Here's the beautiful part: it's never too late to make a change. We don't need to transform everything overnight. We just need to take one small step. Stretch in the morning, clear a drawer, make a phone call, learn one new thing on our phone, schedule that checkup, or simply say, yes, I could use a hand. Every little change adds up. Every choice to care for ourselves brings us closer to a life that feels lighter, freer, and more joyful. And remember, this stage of life is not about just surviving, it's about thriving. It's about embracing the wisdom we've earned while still daring to grow, connect, and live fully. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'd love to know, which one of these mistakes spoke to you the most? Have you already conquered one? Or is there a change you're ready to start today? Share your story in the comments below, because your words might inspire another woman listening right now. And if this conversation brought you comfort or clarity, don't forget to give it a little love. Like, share, or subscribe, so more women like us can find their way here. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Remember, you're not alone on this journey, and every small step you take is a gift to the woman you are still becoming. With warmth and gratitude, until we meet again.